Trauma. It's a word we hear often, but its depth and complexity can be difficult to grasp. Trauma is not just an event. It's the lasting impact that event has on an individual's mind, body, and soul. When we talk about trauma, we're talking about experiences that overwhelm our ability to cope, leaving us feeling powerless and afraid. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a mental health condition that can develop after a person experiences or witnesses a traumatic event. This event could be anything that threatens their safety or well-being, such as a natural disaster, a car accident, physical or sexual assault, or war. PTSD is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural response to an unnatural event. The symptoms can be varied and debilitating, affecting every aspect of a person's life. By understanding trauma, we can begin to heal and create a more compassionate world for those who have endured unimaginable experiences. Let's consider the story of Sarah, a young woman who experienced a traumatic car accident in her early 20s. Before the accident, Sarah was a vibrant and outgoing individual, full of life and dreams. Then, one rainy evening, her world changed forever. Driving home from work, Sarah's car was struck by a drunk driver. The impact was severe, leaving her with physical injuries and a deep emotional scar. In the immediate aftermath, Sarah experienced shock and disbelief. She couldn't comprehend how her life could change so drastically in a matter of seconds. Sarah was plagued by nightmares, reliving the accident repeatedly in her mind. The fear was paralyzing, consuming her thoughts and dictating her actions. PTSD manifests itself in a myriad of ways, and no two individuals will experience it identically. However, there are common symptoms that serve as indicators of this condition. These symptoms can be broadly categorized into four main types: intrusive memories, avoidance, negative changes in thinking and mood, and changes in physical and emotional reactions. Intrusive memories are unwelcome and distressing reminders of the traumatic event. These can take the form of flashbacks, nightmares, or vivid sensory experiences that transport the individual back to the moment of the trauma. Avoidance behaviors are another hallmark of PTSD. Individuals may try to avoid anything that reminds them of the trauma, including people, places, activities, or even certain thoughts or feelings. Trauma can also significantly impact a person's thoughts and mood. Negative thoughts and feelings, such as fear, guilt, shame, and self-blame, can become pervasive. Lastly, PTSD can manifest as changes in physical and emotional reactions, including being easily startled, always being on edge, and difficulty sleeping. To truly understand PTSD, we must delve into the intricate workings of the brain. Trauma doesn't just leave an emotional scar, it alters the very structure and function of the brain, particularly in areas responsible for processing fear, memory, and emotional regulation. One key area affected is the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. In individuals with PTSD, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, constantly scanning for threats, even when there are none. This leads to a state of chronic hypervigilance. Another area impacted is the hippocampus, responsible for memory formation and retrieval. Trauma can disrupt the hippocampus's ability to create and store memories properly. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive functions such as decision-making, planning, and emotional regulation, also undergoes changes due to trauma. These brain changes contribute to the wide range of symptoms experienced by individuals with PTSD. The body as a vessel of trauma, physical manifestations. While PTSD is often viewed through the lens of mental and emotional distress, it's crucial to recognize that trauma doesn't just reside in the mind, it also manifests in the body. The body keeps the score, holding on to the memory of trauma long after the event has passed. One way trauma manifests physically is through chronic pain. Individuals with PTSD often experience persistent pain in various parts of their body, even without any underlying medical condition. Another common physical manifestation is digestive issues. The gut-brain connection is well established, and trauma can disrupt this delicate balance. Sleep disturbances are also prevalent in individuals with PTSD. Furthermore, trauma can impact the immune system, making individuals more susceptible to infections and chronic illnesses. Beyond PTSD, understanding complex trauma. While PTSD is a common response to trauma, it's essential to recognize that not all trauma neatly fits into this diagnostic category. Complex trauma, also known as developmental trauma, arises from prolonged or repeated exposure to traumatic events, often occurring in childhood. This type of trauma can have a particularly profound impact on development, shaping a child's sense of self, their relationships with others, and their ability to navigate the world safely. Examples of complex trauma include childhood abuse, neglect, witnessing domestic violence, or growing up in a war-torn region. Understanding complex trauma requires a different lens, one that acknowledges the pervasive and long-lasting impact of early adversity. Seeking help, the first step towards healing. Acknowledging the need for help is often the most challenging yet most crucial step in the healing journey. It takes immense courage to confront the pain of trauma and seek support. However, it's essential to remember that you are not alone and that healing is possible. If you recognize yourself or someone you love in the descriptions of PTSD or complex trauma, reaching out to a mental health professional is paramount. These professionals are trained to diagnose and treat trauma-related disorders, providing a safe and supportive environment for healing to begin. Talking to a trusted friend, family member, or spiritual advisor can also be beneficial. Sharing your story with someone who listens without judgment can be incredibly validating and empowering. A multifaceted approach exploring treatment options. Treating PTSD and complex trauma typically involves a multifaceted approach that addresses the emotional, cognitive, and physical impacts of trauma. Therapy forms the cornerstone of PTSD treatment. Different therapeutic modalities have proven effective in helping individuals process their trauma, manage their symptoms, and regain a sense of control over their lives. Some of the most common types of therapy used include trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, and dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. CBT helps individuals identify and change negative thought patterns and behaviors. EMDR uses bilateral stimulation to help individuals process and integrate traumatic memories. DBT focuses on teaching individuals skills to manage their emotions, cope with distress, and improve their relationships. The power of therapy, healing the mind. Therapy provides a safe and supportive space for individuals to explore their trauma, process their emotions, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. It's a collaborative journey where the individual and therapist work together to understand the root causes of their distress and develop a personalized treatment plan. Trauma-informed therapy recognizes the profound impact that trauma can have on an individual's life and approaches treatment with sensitivity and compassion. Through therapy, individuals can learn to identify and challenge negative thoughts and beliefs, regulate their emotions, and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Therapy helps individuals challenge negative thoughts and replace them with more balanced and realistic ones. It teaches skills to manage emotions effectively, reducing their intensity and frequency. Therapy equips individuals with healthy ways to cope with stress, anxiety, and difficult emotions. Beyond talk therapy, alternative healing modalities. While therapy forms the foundation of PTSD treatment, several alternative healing modalities can complement traditional therapeutic approaches and support the healing journey. These modalities recognize the mind-body connection and address the somatic or body-based experiences of trauma. Yoga combines physical postures, breathing exercises, and meditation, promoting relaxation, reducing stress, and improving body awareness. Acupuncture involves inserting thin needles into specific points on the body to stimulate energy flow and promote healing. Art therapy allows individuals to express their emotions and experiences non-verbally through creative mediums like painting, drawing, or sculpting. Music therapy uses music to facilitate emotional expression, reduce stress, and promote relaxation. These alternative modalities are not intended to replace traditional therapy, but rather to complement and enhance the healing process. They provide individuals with additional tools and resources to manage their symptoms and improve their overall well-being. Conclusion: a journey towards recovery. Understanding PTSD and trauma is crucial for creating a more compassionate and supportive world for those who have endured unimaginable experiences. Trauma is not a sign of weakness, it's a natural response to an unnatural event. The journey towards recovery from PTSD and complex trauma is not linear. It's often filled with ups and downs. However, with the right support, individuals can heal from their trauma, rebuild their lives, and rediscover a sense of hope and agency. By fostering a greater understanding of PTSD and trauma, we can break down the stigma surrounding mental health, encourage individuals to seek help, and create a world where everyone feels safe, supported, and empowered to heal.